steps.
Alrighty, well, let's get going. A few stragglers hop in. That's fine. Thanks everyone for hopping on. I'm Chris. If we haven't chatted already, it seems like we got a lot of customers and whatnot on the webinar here. But I'm one of the co-founders of CoreStack. We've also got Barrett and Evan, who are our other two co-founders. So we're the team. If you have any questions along the way, please feel to reach out and chat, and we can either cover them talking, or Barrett or Evan will hit you up with a response. Today we're going to be chatting with John, who probably does not need an introduction, about how he's built the Just Hacking training platform with CoreStack, and yeah, just kind of get into the details of how, why, what's coming up, and maybe get into a little bit of course building or system building live on the call here as well. So thanks for joining, John. You want to just do a brief intro about, do you have a spiel for JHT yet? Like an
Sure
elevator
thing.
pitch?
No, I don't know if I do quite yet for JHD, but no, hey, hi, hello, everyone. Thanks so much for letting me crash the party. Special thanks. I really appreciate you, Chris, for letting me join. But no, look, I run around trying to do as much as I can. Day job is kind of at Huntress as a security researcher there, and then I have this YouTube channel to share education and videos and content. But now the fun new adventure with Just Hacking Training is to try to have kind of a formal, more schoolhouse like curriculum, courseware like structure. But that's been really all due to the power of CoreStack. So grateful for all of your support and excited to chat more about it.
Yeah, I definitely want to touch base with you, like really get into why the formal course format. Your kind of whole YouTube presence is super focused around free or low cost ethical hacking education, and it seems to have been working pretty well for you. What made you kind of make the switch to doing something more formal? Like, what was your
Yeah.
thought process around, I want to start this new venture and see if we can do that?
Super good question. And truth be told, it's kind of been something that I've wanted for a long, long time, right? It's no secret. Folks kind of ask the question, like, "Hey, John, are you going to make a course?" Like, "Hey, John, you could do a course." "Hey, John, do you have a course coming out?" Uh, and that stockpiles over time. And I, I always really struggled with courses because, for one thing, putting it together is very different than making a YouTube video. You sit down, you like trap out 5 minutes or 10 minutes of, oh, hey, I recorded and did the thing, and that's it. Then the deliverable is done. Um,
Sure.
when it comes to courses, on one end, it's there's a lot more to it, without a doubt. I want to make sure it can have labs. I want to make sure it can have quizzes. I want to make sure it can be updated or something that's easily accessible even long in the future. Um, and just as you mentioned, look, YouTube for me has kind of always been that mantra of free education. And hey, getting stuff out and about. And even when we were kind of scheming up in our early days, just you and I bantering, we were thinking like, oh, can we do like a name your price or pay what you want or pay what you can? Kind of all the ways to find the right sweet spot for money. The I don't know the word here that they tend to maybe beat around the bush here and there, but financials, which are very, very necessary for a healthy venture. And it's been a learning curve for me to get that right. I think what I've kind of found the niche is that, look, the YouTube videos have been me. And for 10, 15 years, it's just kind of been just me. But what I'm really loving with Just Hacking Training is that, for one thing, it's not just me. And hey, we've got other experts, we've got other industry practitioners, we've got folks that can flex their muscles and show off, teach, and get that education out and about. But it's a much easier, even just as a person, because I'm always trying to beat that drum for free, accessible training, to be like, hey, look,
Mm.
I got to pay the people, I got to pay the team. So I hope it's understandable. Look, money is going to be part of the equation here for a schoolhouse, for curriculum and courses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, it's a lot more goes into it. I don't know if there's a ratio of like time you have to put in for 1 hour of YouTube content, but at least from the course building that I used to do for conference trainings and that sort of thing, it's at least like an 8 to 1, if not 10 to 1 time commitment on the course dev front to get out an hour of content. It's going to take you 10 hours to put in, because yeah, you're probably recording videos, so it's kind of similar to YouTube. But then there's also, you might write up a bunch of documentation or more, traditional text format course material. You want to put those labs into the course, and that's where you really get, the time sink comes in if you're building that stuff out. So hopefully we make that a little bit faster for you. You don't have to, bang your head against the wall too much on creating all of the like virtual machines that you want to include. But yeah, we can't get into pricing because I'll take us on a tangent for like 45 minutes and then the webinar will be over. I love chatting about pricing, but yeah, definitely important to charge for content that you spend a lot of time on, or else you won't make more of it, because it won't be worth it unless you're a very special person. A lot of folks are very generous with their time, but I think it's healthy for everyone for sure, to charge. And I forget, did we do the name your price functionality just for you guys? Was that a JHT request?
Yes, I think in the early days, even before it was JHT proper, it was me begging and groveling, like, "Hey, can you change the wording to be name your price here and there?" So early days.
Yeah, nice. I think it was even nameyourpricetraining.com at one
It
point,
was, it
before it
was.
was just hacking training.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, we've got a bunch of course creators on the call, or future course creators on the call. And you have a ton of folks that work on your platform. There's a lot of people building right now, especially in cybersecurity, training content, whether it's videos or build your own home lab stuff, or whatever it is. How does the content on JHT kind of stand out, and what makes it different from the rest? Because I know we get a lot of questions from our customers and folks like in the Discord community asking like, I want to do a course on pen testing, but I'm not sure if I should because there's so much on it out there already. What makes JHT different, and how do you think about those types of issues?
Well, it boils down in my mind really to the hands-on and practical labs, lab environments, and being able to get folks into an environment where, hey, they're with it and they get to experiment, they get to play, they get to practice. When I was thinking, even before, whether it's JHT, just hacking training, or core stack, when we're trying to bumble around the idea, how can I get folks virtual machines? Do I just ship a VMDK file, or do I don't know, include that in a zip archive for stuff to download when folks are going through a course? Or that's going to be hard. That's going to be tough. And you have to walk people through how to spin it all up, whether it's VirtualBox, whether it's VMware. And I'm like, okay, can I make this easier? Do we just do it Docker containers? So it's much lighter, but then there's even more setup and structure to go through that. So having something that would be the streamlined click button, now you have an environment, would have just been ideal. And then what you all came along, and that's kind of what Core Stack does. That's some sweet superpower there. That has been a phenomenal way to kind of get those two together. And then the creative canvas is really just, hey, yeah, let's build that pen testing course, but let's have an entire Active Directory set up and structure there. Or, oh, let's do some stuff for SOC, Security Operations Center. Hey, some analysts, some digital forensics, and some response. Hey, what if we had a whole like SIEM solution? What if we had a log aggregator? Now that's easy, which is awesome. But even with that, it gets into the like, okay, how can we make this enticing? How can we make folks want to play with that? Well, I think so far it's been, let's get them into action as fast as possible, and then let's sort of arm them with a absolute all-star or a real industry expert that has already been cruising through this for however many years, and they're known for this. I think that's been working really well thus far, because we've been able to explore, oh, is it some stuff about the dark web? Is it some stuff about malware analysis? Is it open source intelligence? Is it Active Directory? But without a doubt, have a lot of the extra speed run work from all your support and what Core Stack's doing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully, I mean, it's really good to hear, because that's like our thesis for the whole company, the whole platform is if we make this easier, there's going to be a lot more high quality content out there. And there's not really other good options in terms of course platforms for this type of technical content. So
Yeah, I
hopefully, yeah,
don't
the
think there
VMs
are
are,
any in my mind.
yeah, I mean, maybe Teachable will build VMs one day, but I really highly doubt it. It's a small niche, but a set of customers that we've enjoyed working with for a long time. Um, so yeah, it's super good to hear that the things that we think make the platform valuable are also what you're finding it really helpful for. Did you think of it all before about building something yourself or going forward with courses, prior to Course Stack, or was this something that you never considered until, I came badgering you to do
Um,
it?
So short answer is yes. If you're willing to let me ramble and rant again, no, like I would be eyeing a Podia or a Teachable or I don't know, whatever equivalent to be able to just spit something together. But then you'd be missing a lot more of the hands-on labs, and then it would just kind of be its own, I don't know, entity that's hard to kind of keep track of and do it right. Um, I had thought to, I wanted to, but it is something that's really a significant time investment, and I'm already kind of running around to do all these other things. What I'm loving with the model of just hacking training, you might know kind of my partner, business and partner in crime, Don, and he has been really kind of helping put jetpack on this thing and making sure they can fly fast and go where it needs to go. I have learned some incredible lessons in trying to delegate. So it doesn't all have to be me because I tend to struggle with losing creative control, whether it's, oh,
Sure.
making a YouTube thumbnail or how things look because I want all the emojis in this certain spot. But I'm grateful for the support and now building out a team to be able to take it on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope Core Stack's team is as big as the JHT team at some point. Yeah, a ton of awesome creators on the platform with you. Also, you know now, and I think you got as happy as I've ever seen you when you found out that you could put emojis in the lesson titles in the
Yeah,
platform. Heavy user of emojis in the course content.
it just adds a splash of color. So,
Well, sweet. We've chatted a bunch about kind of the VMs and the hands-on content and how much easier that is. There's definitely nothing wrong with, making a VM image just downloadable and say, hey, this is what I've worked on, go do it. But there's something that's not quite tangible about how much easier and how much better it is for the student to just have that all baked into the course and the platform that they're learning on until you actually do it. So I was wondering if we could maybe go in and explore what it's like to build a system into a course. We can play around. You can direct me or you can take a stab at it yourself. I won't force you either way. But yeah, I think it'd be good to show folks just quickly here. We can probably do it in less than 10 minutes, make a new course, drop some
mm.
content in it, and show you what that's like.
Well, I will ask politely for you to hold my hand here, but I'll do a little screen share if that's okay, and I'll hop open to app.courstack.com. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing any
Can you
secrets.
share screens?
Let's find out.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
There we are. Very nice.
Cool. So, hey, not to add too much background context, but we've been trying to put together what would be a strict course and then a couple other different SKUs in all reality for a hack along or an upskill challenge or some other variation where we have our own guardrails as to whether or not, okay, this will include a virtual machine, this will include a lab environment or not, this will be video friendly, video heavy or not, et cetera, et cetera, and even some of the capture the flag archives. But where should we go, Chris? You want to build a new course? Is it simple as that?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Let's do that, and then let's just pick a content type. Chris wins the internet. That would be fun. I don't know how you win the internet, but sounds like I should.
Excellent, excellent. I don't have any Slack notifications coming through in screen share, do I? Fingers crossed. I tried to screen only the
Nope.
window, but good enough.
Nope. All
So
good.
super easy, right? Hey, we just kind of click the button, new course, Chris wins the internet. And now we can kind of experiment, right? Already stages what would be a new chapter and a new lesson, but we would want to edit those over in the easy edit content button here. Did you get to dive into this just a bit ago with hey other guests on the show? But I don't know if you're cruising through some markdown or trying to make a little shell here.
Yeah, we did not do this on last week's webinar. Didn't get into the platform at all. So I think this is great. I'm someone who won the internet apparently through some nice hands-on content.
Sorry, I'm just having fun and trolling.
No problem. This is
So
great.
we want to add a virtual machine into this, correct?
Yeah, I think course content aside, we've got a bunch of different content types you can support. You can copy paste existing content from other platforms like Notion, and get this built out at your leisure. It's really as much as you want to put into it here. Yep, we support quizzes as well. Obviously, the answer is yes, I won. So there's a lot of all the typical kind of surrounding functionality that you'd expect out of an LMS, or other like online course platform. And then the big differentiator is our hands-on content types. So we've got systems or system groups, which is like a network of VMs that can all talk to each other, integrated Jupyter notebooks, and coding workspaces. So we'll probably try to get some other customers on in the future that are using those content types more seriously to chat through them. But since you guys have so many VMs in so many of your courses, definitely want to walk through how like your process for putting them in. So really you can just add a new system and
Let's see,
it'll be
over
pretty
system side
immediately
here.
available.
Yeah.
If you want, we can build a new image, or you've got a lot of content built out already.
We do.
So
Yeah.
up to you. I don't know how much secret
This has
sauce is in your
been a
images.
learning curve for me. Was trying to find the distinction between what would be an image and then a system. Are you able to color that picture a little bit in your explanation for folks that might not be
Yeah,
familiar?
sure. So we use AWS on the back end. So an image is actually an AMI. So it's very much equivalent to an AWS AMI, which you can also import your own if you have them, if you don't want to build in the platform. Um, but yeah, a system is a running instance in that case. So systems are deployed, either stopped or running instances that you can connect to and actually build your content on. So once you start one of these, hop in, make changes, you can then create a saved image, which you can include in your courses. And then anyone who registers for that course, once they enroll and have access to the system, they can launch their own copy of that image to get their own system that's part of the course.
Cool. So as an example, could we try to add a system to our course here?
For
And
sure.
then
You
think
should have a
there's
lot
some,
to choose from.
yeah, I'm not
You can
sure if
also
it's
do this.
zoomed in here.
You won't have it in your course yet. So first, to add the system, you got to go to that left systems tab,
Good enough. Ah,
add your
of
systems to
course.
the course. And this is where you can choose all the settings you want to configure with your VM. So should it have internet access, upload, download files, course visibility, etc. Looks like we're gonna slap a Kali Linux image in here.
Unless you got any other options, stuff that you're
No,
kind of
perfect.
charging onwards for. But really, we'll still need to make sure we choose the image, right?
Yep. So we have a bunch of base images for you, just stuff we make available out of the box. A lot of it is just the Amazon, the AWS available images, like Windows Server versions, Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, SUSE. But we also let you build your own. So we can.
We could do either, any of them. A lot of the stuff that we've been building out for our upcoming shenanigans.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for maybe Dark Web 2, maybe a little bit more CTI, cyber threat
Okay.
intelligence in the future. But let's just slap in Kali Linux, if that's okay.
For sure. Cool. So
Excellent.
now that that's added to your course systems list, you can reference it inside a lesson, like we were just about to. So add a system, select
Now
from
we
your
got to drop down.
available. There's your Kali Linux. And if you save this, then we can preview and see what this will be like for the student.
This is
Nice.
why I say this is
Well,
pretty easy. It's just like press the button and then it'll do its thing. Um,
yep.
the
We've got a couple
systems tab here
questions
was,
actually in the as while this is starting up, John, in the Q&A from Brandon
oh, excellent.
about your process for creating a new VM. So you can start blank and then add things in, add vulnerabilities, other content, um, or you can upload your own. So curious how kind of you and the team approach that particular piece of things. Do you tend to start blank in the platform and build out from there, or do you have stuff elsewhere already that you're importing?
So far, truth be told, we've been kind of starting blank from within the platform, adding what we need, and then making that its own instance to work with. I am not the smartest. I'm not as smart and sharp as I should be, and a lot of AWS magic, voodoo and witchcraft. So I probably have asked you before, like, hey, can you dumb this down for me, whether it's a local VM, like an export and upload an OVA file or whatever. So maybe, I don't know. But right now it is sort of piecemeal, truth be told.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. Where we see most folks start to import their own images is when they're migrating from some other solution, or they've got like a Terraform script they've been giving out to students. If you already have either, OVAs, VMDKs, VMs on some other platform or that you run locally, as long as you can convert them into an AMI that runs in AWS, you can share that with the platform and import it into your Core Stack account here. And then that just becomes an image you can drop right into a course, or that you could launch in the platform and mess around with a little more, make some tweaks and changes, and then create a new image from there. So yeah, there's that you can't actually upload into the platform, but you can upload and convert your OVAs and other VM files to AMIs and then import them to the platform. I do not believe there is any limitation on the size of your AMI. Disk size may have like a 1 TB limit. I'm waiting for Parrot or Evan to ping me the magic answer here, but I think it's around a terabyte or two even on disk size for your images. So that's probably not very smart on our part, letting everyone just spin up a bajillion 2 TB VMs in the platform, but it's quite generous at the moment.
We heard it here first. Core Stack CVE.
Updating that limit as we speak.
Excellent. I think our Kali Linux
Yeah,
friend is up and running. Try to give
yeah,
it a little extra breathing room. We can connect.
for sure. Look at that. Even is going to your new tab. You
They
should
do like to
definitely click
ask if you
allow.
can get for the clipboard. Yep.
Always allow. I mean, not always, but one of the biggest questions that we actually get from students about accessing the VMs is about like copy paste and clipboard issues. So we use Apache Guacamole to connect to all of our systems, and copy paste comes baked in, but you do have to allow those permissions in the browser for it to work really nicely. All right.
Now we'll take a couple
You,
more seconds, I think. I know Kali has
yeah,
just a little bit of extra boot for getting into action, but I see the cursor has changed, so we're at least looking good on that front.
yeah, we're in there. The Kali image in particular is kind of bloated for whatever unknown reason. There's a ton of stuff on it.
Yeah.
We're using RDP for the access, so it's smooth once you get in, but it really does take a few minutes to get thinking and wake up all the way, which I can sympathize with. It's not getting any coffee first thing in the morning.
Oh yeah. But there we are. Not much more to it, right? It's Kali Linux as you're
Yeah,
used to, just spun up in your browser from a single button. Awesome.
Yep, and this is in that course now. So if you were to publish and enroll students, they'd have access right away. So there's no other steps that you have to take to get these images, get these VMs to students besides launching them yourself, making them look like how you want them to look like, whether it's installing new software, or adding in vulnerabilities or anything else. Then just create the image, add it to the course, and students are going to have access to that exact same thing. Um, and yeah, there's no give out and develop. First of all, developing your own Terraform scripts for anything outside of just like a single VM deployment can take quite a while. And then something will change. You don't have to update the script and then redistribute to all your students. And also it's slow. Like it'll take you 20, 30 minutes to get your stuff deployed and running sometimes, especially since a lot of folks tend to build their images from scratch rather than launch from like a pre-configured AMI. They'll say, let's launch the base image and then run a bunch of Ansible scripts on top, which is certainly a valid way of doing things. It's just not as nice for a lot of the types of experiences that we want to make really useful in the platform. Like running a workshop, you kind of want everything to be up and running right away instead of having to waste that first 30 minutes or hour or so building the environments. So yeah, hopefully it's very simple and straightforward to use this type of hands-on content.
I do a lot of live streams to help kind of spread the word on the sweet stuff that we're doing, new course releases and new material that's out and about. I love just being able to show and like, oh, in the live stream, click the button to turn it on and then connect. Like, I think that is just a cool thing to be able to show, hey, look how easy this is, look how simple, like you can jump into the action. I think that's super enticing for folks that want to be students, that want to learn and get into the material. I think they realize, oh wow, that's yeah. I don't have to set anything up. I don't need the whole environment. You're just immediately part of the action. So all good stuff.
Yeah, glad you think so. Oh, I'm glad I won the internet in this quiz. Um, we're gonna run up on time if we get too deep into playing around in here. So I think that's probably good for kind of demo and how you do some of the system building
Yeah. Was there anything more
functionality.
you wanted to showcase? Any other cool stuff to flex? Obviously, different lessons, chapters, content you could add, code workspace, and more. But good.
I think we hit it. We'll flex on some other features next time around. For now, you're getting put on the spot again, with a question from Brandon on how do you go about creating a course from general concept, like idea for a course, to actually implementing that as a course. Do you
Ooh.
have a playbook your team runs through? Um, do you have any sort of process that you use to help you build a course? And also, how do you distinguish that versus like CTF type content, which I know you do a lot of?
Yeah, thank you. Sort of, kind of. Let me add a asterisk and caveat because we're hey trying to work with other people, other folks, other courseware developers and instructors. And my biggest thing is, hey, can I make sure that this is fun for you? Can I make sure this is worthwhile and valuable for you? So that at the very least, it's asking them and asking us, like, what do you want to make a course on? What is just a lot of fun and exciting and something that you're interested in? So much so you can write pages upon pages and record videos upon videos and make a whole lab environments because we're gonna have to sit through and do it. Uh, so that's the biggest thing. Hey, do they love CTI? Do they love pen testing? Do they love whatever the case may be? Um, then I hope we could try to carve out an outline. That's kind of the biggest thing next is once we've got a general topic theme, know what we want to do. Can we carve out practical hands-on stuff to make the trajectory of a course where the introduction is still something tactical, something that can be hands-on, something that will whet their appetite for more down the line. So
Mhm.
it'll be small, it'll be bite-sized, it'll be digestible, not as mentally or I don't know, cognitively overbearing as what would be lesson section 4, lesson 5. As we get closer and closer to like a capstone. I think it's pretty awesome to be able to have a final culminating challenge, or not to say, oh, a final exam or a final quiz, but really something to test their skills and to have something that they can play with and learn. And then throughout that, we'll try to sprinkle in different quizzes. Quizzes
Okay.
for act well for the knowledge check for one thing, and maybe a little bit of a cool trick. That way we can gate more of the material. So that way a student doesn't just click the next button, click the next button, click the next button, and like speed run through the course without having actually done it, read through it, watched anything. Um, that way they can't just, oh, grab their certificate and run away. It's, hey, I
Yeah.
need you
Yeah.
to fill out these stop gaps here.
Yeah. Good point. For those listening, quick tip on gating content. Our mechanism for blocking off content for the course is to include a quiz that has a required grade. So yeah, idea there being exactly what you just walked through, that if you put in a quick knowledge check and make the student pass, it's a good validation of, okay, they've at least skimmed this material before they've moved on, and they're not just clicking next to grab the little badge at the end to post on LinkedIn.
Does that kind of answer your question though? I want to double check. I'm sure we could dive down into more, but I got to admit that's the gist.
Yeah, looks good.
I'm really glad that you asked about capture the flag, though, if I may. Um,
yeah,
for a long while, again, me kind of cooking up and getting wide-eyed for the ideas of, hey, can I have an always on, like on demand training platform? Because I and we have been hosting so many different capture the flag events over the past many years. There's been NahamCon, there's been GrimCon, there's been B-sides at different events, Boston, Cayman Islands, whatever, sneak here and there. So a lot of incredible friends and a lot of opportunities to put on a game. And we've built out like a library of 1,000 or so capture the flag challenges, but they're sitting collecting dust on a shelf and dead otherwise, unless there's a 48-hour weekend game that we can put on. So it's just been paining me for a long time. uh, what are we going to do with it? They're just sitting there. I'd love to have this do something more. And
yeah,
again, that's hey, Core Stack coming in to save the day. It's not right now, a full blown capture the flag platform by any means, but even for the learning sake of, hey, can I get each challenge as a lesson? Still give you the files, still give you a virtual machine to play with it. There doesn't need to be a competitive leaderboard for a lot of these in retrospect. But that's just
yeah,
been
and
cool to put them and make them accessible.
that's awesome. Yeah, definitely once like the event or whatever, the initial competition is over, it's a lot less impactful to have a leaderboard for this thing that someone
Right.
could have been working on for 6 months, and you win by finishing first or whatever it
Mhm.
is. I feel like that's typically the case. Yeah, super cool to have be able to give like all those CTF challenges a long-term home. Um, and you've also got some cool new stuff coming up, ideas for CTFs, conferences, anything you want to chat about while we have a bit of a captive audience for the next few minutes here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if we don't already have enough spinning plates and directions to run in, somehow we got the smart idea that let's host a conference and do some another virtual online event. But if I may say, I'm so grateful for you tolerating us, Chris. This is probably us continuing to stress test and stretch what can we have Core Stack do. Um, So we'd like to host an always on conference where, hey, every session or a talk or a workshop is not just a talk, but it is a workshop. And it's like, oh, you've got a lab environment, you've got material, and you're able to work through an environment, a lab, a whole range each and every hour. So folks have participated in DEF CON, that's the Detection, Engineering, and Threat Hunting Conference. Kind of a similar style, kind of a similar vibe and model. But the benefit of Core Stack and helping us out there is that it is all self-contained. And hey, we could add to it even more over time if there was another rendition of the conference. So with all these gimmicks and with all that kind of trick to it, we were thinking, how do we talk about a cybersecurity conference that never ends? It's continuous learning. And we said, oh, we could call it Continuum Con. So Continuum Con is I'll be joining forces with a lot of the friends from Level Effect. I think you got to chat with Anthony some time ago.
Yep,
And
last
we
week.
will be rocking, putting on a show the best that we can.
Yeah, we're super excited for that. There's going to be a lot of kind of custom functionality we're working on. My relationship with you and Anthony is tends to be you announce things that you're doing publicly and then say, hey, by the way, guys, can you build the features for us to do this? So it's worked
Sorry,
out so far, but one of these days, one of
gonna
us is
catch
going to
up to
fall
us.
flat on our face. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I posted the link to the conference site in the chat, so folks can check that out. I think there's going to be some updates and maybe ticket sales in the next week or so. So very excited to do that. Um, we also have a special thanks for joining. You can, if you're interested in using Core Stack, checking us out for more of your own course development. We've got a coupon code you can use for 6 months of 50% off. It's Hammond50. I'll post that in the chat here too, in homage to our esteemed guests.
Thank you.
Um,
Appreciate it.
and then before we go, we've got one last question, with I think is really fitting to leave on from Anonymous. Going into the future, what's your vision for Just Hacking training in 5 years?
Um, I don't want to say more of the same because I mean that's it. That's the start of the answer to that question. We'll keep doing what we're doing and hopefully do that more and better. But we're very wide-eyed for, hey, can we do a lot of in-person training? Can we bring a lot of the all-stars to conferences and events? And can we try to, hey, spin something up for businesses? For other companies that need training and an opportunity to be able to dig into all this. I think when we can bring them a cohort, a cadre of sweet material and excellent education, I hope that's going to be something very exciting. And we'll get a little bit sharper on Capture the Flag. We'll get a little bit sharper on hosting events. We'll do more and more and more, but hopefully better all the way up. So.
Sounds exciting. We hope to be there with you the whole way. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll get a recording of this up on YouTube shortly here in the next couple of days, in case you missed it or want to share with friends. And yeah, really appreciate your time, and thanks chatting, John. It's been great.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everyone.